after that slight little hiccup. And, well, we should be going any second. Lurlin, do you have any predictions? Introduce these two players for us.
In the top right spawn position, Uzer, he was not able to defend against the drop play that Shuttle was throwing at him over and over again. He's playing in pink. He's from Poland. I know he's got a lot of fans in chat. It is Uzer. And in the bottom left spawn position, playing from North America, but he is actually from Korea, so don't be fooled. He's playing in red. He's playing Terran. He's up a game. He could close the series out 2-0. It is Clarity Gaming's Shuttle.
Now, I think it's worth saying, Shuttle took a lot of damage early on, but he came back really nicely. Those Widow Mines to the third, one of those Widow Mines got 13 kills, Lurlin. That in itself is pretty spectacular. It's meant that that third base wasn't able to mine for a long time. It meant that obviously the drone count was lower, and that initial push of those tunneling claws roaches wasn't enough for User to win the game flat out there. And the longer the game went on, due to having the third mule from the third command center, Shuttle just kept on producing his SCVs, kept on getting the better and better economy compared to that of his opponent, and due to that was able to win in the late game with better upgrades, better tech, and a better army composition. This game,
especially the upgrades making a big difference, I think, in that last battle. It was a 3-2 for Shuttle versus 2-1 for User. User had really good upgrades in the early game / mid game, but after that, his economy was just too lackluster. He had to choose, am I going for infestors? Am I going for more drones? Or am I making more units? Or am I getting upgrades? He just didn't have money to do everything that he wanted to.
and that's always the tough thing. If you don't get enough economy going, then the longer the game goes on, it's not going to work for you. But that's the nature of being really aggressive. You pay the price, you take the risk of doing the damage there or getting behind in the later stages. But for the moment, User, he's gone for a hatchery first into a gas, so he's going to be getting out some more tech early, trying to get zergling speed as soon as possible, but therefore delaying his spawning ball. Luckily for him though, Shuttle, he just went for a command center first opening, just the same as the first game. And why wouldn't you? Because if you won the first game, you don't need to vary from your very early game strategy. There's nothing else you can really do effectively on this map other than, say, some kind of 2 racks, but that'd be very, very risky to do.
Yeah, looks like we might be in for another longer game. We do see User grabbing a pretty early gas, putting 2 workers in there, so he is going to go for a pretty early speed, and he does have a lot of early gas at his disposal. What is he going to use that for? We'll have to see. The winner of this series, I wanted to point out, is going to go up against the winner of Monchi versus Beastie Cutie, and the winner of after that is going to go up against Sase to battle out who will be in Premier League next season and who will have to play in the Challenger League group division. And I believe we're going to be bringing you the round of 24 tomorrow and the round of 16 on Thursday.
We will, and that is indeed correct, Lurlin. So we should be seeing all of that fun action coming up throughout the week. You can find it all here. As we've got this game, though, at the moment, we have got 2 orbital commands morphing in for Shuttle. He's not giving away any of his hand. He's just got the 1 gas. The factory should get started soon because he's got enough gas for it. There we go. 2 Zerglings on their way out. Zergling speed also started up for User once more. He's just, again, droning up, getting the queens down. Neither player taking too many risks. The other thing which is worth noting is User, he's taken those 3 drones out of his extractor. He wanted just to get speed and then is happy to drone.
Yeah, important to point out. So no super early, ridiculously early roach timings coming out of User here. He could do something super risky, feeling that Shuttle is the superior player and he needs to surprise him with let's say, the roaches to be able to win this game. But it doesn't seem to be the case. He's going to be playing it standard, and so is Shuttle. He will be swapping that barracks with the factory and getting the reactor on there. As he actually, no, he's not. He's just going to build. Oh, interesting. He's building a tech lab first, and then he's going to swap him.
And there's nothing wrong with that, going for that nice little swap going down there. We've got the 3rd base for User coming out as well.
Is he not going to swap him?
He may not. He may not be doing that at all, which would be a little bit unconventional, to be fair, but it's not a huge problem either. It just means that he's going to be getting that tank down nice and early on to get into a good defense position, which makes sense because he's got his 3rd command center already on its way. So he wants to be a little bit more defensive as opposed to going for the map control, which can be granted by getting the Hellions. But look at this. User, his 3rd base is coming up quite a bit sooner. He's now getting the Roach Run and the 2nd gas. He is still getting the gas off of 1 base for the moment, but yeah, he's up to 3 gases now. Everything looking fine. And will he be going for
2
another?
gases.
Yeah, 2 gases. Sorry, I thought he had a second gas in main. 2 gases. Well, do you reckon he'll be going for another aggressive roach push? Or do you reckon he's just getting those roaches out to be defensive against the Hellions, which he's probably somewhat certain should be on their way?
I'm starting to wonder right now. There's no evolution chambers to spend gas on, and what else is he going to spend all that gas on that he gets out of 2 extractors? He's going to go for 8 roaches again, and will be applying the pressure. He also has speed finished up, so he could produce a few Zerglings to support this, but also is going to be droning behind this. So 3 more drones are on the way, so another complete all-in roach pressure coming out of Uzer here. He's just making 9 roaches, and he's going to go for it. After that, Uzer's going to start his double Evo chamber. So this is very different from last game, but he's making it look like it's the same thing. That's what he's hoping to do here. He's hoping to confuse his opponent into thinking, oh no, I'm being hit by a semi-all-in roach play again, while he's actually droning and teching behind it.
Now, Shuttle, he's getting up his 1-1 upgrades as well, so we'll actually be slightly ahead in terms of the upgrade count once more. He's getting some Widow Mines out. He's going for that infantry style yet again. We can see the Overlord trying to make its way in, is going to get taken out really before it sees very much at all. In terms of what he saw, he knew there was a tech lab on something. He could see that there was the 2 barracks being made, but he did not see the double engineering bay or the 3rd orbital command. All of those things are really critical to know to get a good read of what your opponent's doing. Therefore, he needs to know, well, he needs to get some more scouting, or he needs to take a quick look at the front. Did see a tank shot go off on his roaches, though, so that in itself is a bit of a giveaway of what that tech lab was for.
You're right. So a few defensive tanks coming out of Shuttle, playing it super safe, which is of course a good thing when you're ahead in a series and you feel like you're the better player. Play it super safe, play it the macro way, play the game out to the late game, and when it gets to the late game, your superior multitasking or your superior macro mechanics might be able to win you game. We see a scan going down. It's going to see the lair. It's going to see the late lair. It does not see the Baneling Nest morphing at the 3rd base though.
Did see the macro hatchery coming down, which is a good little thing to get scouted out there for Shuttle, but Shuttle doesn't know about the 3rd or the 4th base that's on its way. So these are all really quite vital things that Shuttle isn't really able to get a look out on. You can probably assume that the 3rd is there, but making assumptions is always a dangerous move. Meanwhile, the tanks, the Widow Mines, all giving a very nice defensive position. But Shuttle, getting ready to start moving forward. He may go and try and secure this 3rd base, pick off the Overlord. There could be generating creep there, ready to float down that 3rd orbital command.
Yeah, it wasn't generating creep there, unfortunately. That would have delayed the command center by maybe a minute at max, because the orbital command is still sitting at home. It's not flown up in the sky just yet, as we see the Zerglings are trying to engage with the army of Terran here. Not really getting a good engagement. Not good at all, actually. User didn't really get much done there.
No, he didn't. He was trying to pick off that tank, which did manage to survive with 16 health, but of course, the Infestation Pit just finishing up. We've got the 1-1 upgrades for melee now done for User, so very different upgrade strategy from previously. And he's just going to be putting on a bit more pressure with these roaches and lings. The Widow Mines aren't going to be off cooldown. 2 are, but 2 aren't. There is the bunker there, though, as well as the tank. The natural base is slightly less well defended, apart from these 2 Widow Mines at the ramp to the natural. At the same time, though, we can see that just more units are flooding across the map. We've got the 4th base up and running for User at the moment. He's taking all of the gases available to him, and he's just taking up towards Hive.
Yeah, getting a pretty early Hive here while he's keeping his opponent on his toes defensively. He's sending in Zergling after Zergling to bait out the Widow Mine hits, kind of implying that he wants to go and attack. You know, usually you would send in Zerglings if you want to come in with a big attack right away after that. So Shuttle is going to be in a very defensive position right now, where he really shouldn't be. He's got nothing to worry about. This is like a super tiny Zergling Roach Forest that would easily be annihilated by the Marines and Marauders alone.
It's just trying to keep Shuttle back, because if he was unsieged, moving across the map, potentially he could take a little bit of damage, lose a couple of tanks and things. But Shuttle, he isn't committing heavily to tanks. He just got those 2 down as a nice little bit of defense. It's all about the Widow Mine and bio composition. But what User's doing here is, 1, he's getting map vision, and 2, he's trying to delay any move out from Shuttle so he can tech up, get those 2-2 upgrades. He's got Pathogen Glands, his Ultralisk Cavern is now starting, and this is all revising around getting a nice big Ultra play going with some good fungal growth in order to trap down the infantry, get a nice surround, and basically omnom with those Ultras straight through it all.
Yeah, he's hoping to get his Ultralisk out in time for the first engagement. Shuttle, he doesn't want to engage just yet. He's just scaring his opponent right now. Moving out with his Marines and Marauders, and will lift up as many as possible to go into the main base. But there are some units in position to defend there. There are 2 Queens, there are Spore Crawlers. This army for Shuttle is definitely going to go down pretty quickly. Not doing too much.
No, it's not going to be able to do...
though.
There is another drop. And that is doing slightly more, but not by that much. Shuttle this entire game has killed 11 workers, so not a huge amount, and ultimately User is at 73 to 72. So with Mules, that does mean Shuttle is slightly ahead in terms of the income, but not by a huge amount. Meanwhile, Ultralisks are starting to hit the field. The first 2 are in production. Chitinous plating on its way. 2-2, about 3/4 done. Upgrades going to be playing a really important role here. 2-2 is already finished though for Shuttle with +3 infantry weapons and no doubt +3 infantry armor getting started shortly.
Yeah, very good upgrades for both players, starting them nice and early. We'll have them finished up early on. User has got 2-1 finished up right now, so he needs to start his additional armor upgrades, because those ultras really work best when they have the full upgrades at their disposal. More drop play is trying to go down. The drops are starting to, slow down a little bit. The defense of User was actually quite good, and the Manifex are just being used to pick off any creep tumor that they can right now.
And this is really similar to Game 1, where actually Shuttle was very proactive in pushing back the creep. That Sense Tower was also quite nice in order to defend the natural and third, getting a good idea of any movement the Zerg player makes through there. The Ultralisk count is starting to get a bit higher though, Lurlian. Up at 4. He's got Adrenal Glands on its way, the 3-3 upgrades getting started, and Chitinous Plating about to kick in. The Spire is also a nice little addition, ready for the potential tech switch if needed. 3-3 much further along for Shuttle though, compared to User. And this push moving across is actually quite scary. The one problem that Shuttle has though is his Marauder count isn't that high. He does have 12 down, but that means that with some good fungal growth, with some good ultra movement, it could be quite nice. And here we go, we've got a bit of engagement outside the 4th base. The Widow Mines getting some big detonations off, and a lot of those Zerglings go down.
A lot of the Zerglings do fall. Some Marines and Marauders are left. Is there enough anti-air here to hold those Manifex in place to take them out? No, there's not. The Marines and Marauders are going to be dropping behind the mineral line. There's still a lot of Widow Mines left, but they do not have enough. Their cooldown has not lifted yet, so they won't be able to do much. And Shuttle is kind of stuck right now. Where's he gonna go?
Well, apparently he's having some quite huge lag, as we can see on screen. I'm not quite sure what's causing that. I wasn't getting any major issues there, so hopefully this can get resolved. Of course, in the previous game, we did see Shuttle having some lag issues, so hopefully this isn't something to do with their connection between them. They are, of course, quite a long way away, with Shuttle, I believe, being in America at the moment. But let's take a look at where things stand at the moment. Production-wise, we can see that the Ultralisks, 8 are on the way. We already have 3 out on the field. This drop down to the bottom right is potentially going to do some really nice damage, though, but is not able to force the cancel because Banelings and Roshis come in to defend that. And, yeah, User still having lag issues, so this is never good. You never want to have lag issues when you're in a game this important.
Did we actually change the game speed? Are we like the GSL right now? Did we?
Well,
I'm sure you read about that.
Yeah, that was very fun, and unfortunately none of us are refs, so we can't actually tell them, which is a bit of a play. So we could always resume from replay. Shuttle isn't getting any issues here, so this is always one of those little awkward situations. There isn't admins in every game.
There's no referee in this game, so nobody could have possibly changed the game speed, I think.
Nope, it is impossible. But here we go. We've got this drop doing some nice damage at the 4th. This drop's going down in a lot of places, and Shuttle still has those Widow Mines just outside the 4th base of User, and there's a good number of them there. Any movements across could be quite dangerous. Will we see a big kind of hits? Yes, we will. An Ultra even going down to those Widow Mines.
Wow. Oh, actually a lot of Ultras taking damage from the Widow Mines. There's one more Widow Mine that hasn't fired. These Ultralisks are quite low on HP. Has to be so careful. User, is he going to be able to deal with his Marine Marauder ball? There's a lot of Marauders in here, 5 of them DPSing away in the back, but there's even more Ultras. The Widow Mines are starting to come off cooldown, but there is detection right now, so a lot of the Widow Mines have also fallen. User is pushing Shuttle back. Shuttle, does he have the response against these Ultralisks? Not quite yet. Look at that, it feels really... He's right, it feels slow. Look at how slow those Manifex move.
They are... Yeah,
do you see that?
Boost. Yeah, that... Didn't quite seem right to
The
me.
game speed might be actually wrong.
Very peculiar.
Anyway.
Anyway, we do see that for the moment, User is maxed out. Shuttle is at 170 supply. He's still trying to drop everywhere and being relatively successful, killing 26 drones off. But User, he's got a fair few more than that. 80 still down on the field. His greatest spire is about to finish, and he's also about to get the 3-3 upgrades completed, leveling out that, which means any engagement will be a lot of a closer trade. Those cracklings doing a huge amount of damage. The boosting medevacs, though, picking up all those units straight up towards the main base. And User hasn't pulled back units yet. These could potentially snipe off a macro hatch if they're quick.
Yeah, they could. The macro hatch is gonna fall. User's gonna be a little bit sad about that, but it's not the biggest of deals, of course. He's got 5 other hatcheries, he's got plenty of larvae to be working with, but he doesn't have any units in position right now to clean up this drop in the main base. Actually, I think he could have taken on those 2 Ultras pretty easily, but the Ultras are gonna be counterattacking in the middle of the map. They're gonna go up against the Planetary Fortress. The SCVs are in position to defend, but Ultras are very good at dealing with the Planetary Fortress.
Yeah, that Planetary Fortress goes straight down. That knocks Shuttle back down to just 3 bases. He's at 50 SCVs to 74 of User's drones. But this drop coming back in, engaging these Ultras head on and dealing a very nice job. The Hive is now a prime target for those Marines and those Marauders, and that is what they're going to try and take down. Meanwhile, a push is coming in towards the 3rd base as well. Bailings get some really nice connections there up in the main base, but as we see, this push at the 3rd is not really getting dealt with. The Ultras are coming in from behind, but there's Widow Mines there.
Oh, he's
still
got
managing to
spawning
snipe
pool.
off. Yeah, the spawning pool does go down, Lolian. That's a good little snipe off.
He's gonna get another spawning pool in the main base. So
There are no more spawning
pools
pools.
in the last 10 seconds.
There are no more spawning pools. They are definitely now all gone, and that means no more Zerglings, which is a big problem. So as we can see here, an attempt for those Corruptors to take out those medevacs was foiled by User pulling them back, but he will now. Okay, good. He's coming back to take out those medevacs that were heading towards the main. The drop going into the main will get cleaned up with the Ultralisks there. That's really important because that was being a constant thorn in the side of the Zerg player. But the 5th base down at the bottom of the map is potentially about to have someone run in, or a lot of someone's in those Marines and Marauders run in and take it out.
Yeah, that base is definitely down for User right now. User has spent most of his bank. He's going to have to win some engagements convincingly. Soon he throws down a lot of infested Terrans, but he knows he cannot fight here. There's too many Marines and Marauders, and he has to retreat. All his infestors are now pretty much out of energy. There's 1 Broodlord out on the field with 3 more morphing in, but they might die to one of the Widow Mines if they're not careful.
Yeah, those Widow Mines are insanely close. There's also a whole ton of drones going over there. If the Broodlords run back, which they very well might, they could easily get taken out. Hopefully, and I've never thought I'd say this, hopefully the drones will soak up some of the Widow Mine damage rather than the Broodlords, because that would be terrible. It's good job there's some Overseers there pulling that back, but Shuttle is ahead in terms of supply. He's also only 8 workers behind, and User is apparently still having some issues with the game. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, or we may have to contact an admin afterwards, but as we can see, for the moment, Shuttle mining off this center base. So many mules. Mules are good workers. They're very efficient.
Yeah, they are very efficient, and of course, Shuttle has been on 4 bases for such a long time, whereas User has lost his 3rd base, lost a lot of workers. It's 4 base versus 4 base. His main base is mined out. He lost a lot of tech, and he's having those issues with maybe the wrong game speed that could be on. But there is no admin in this match, so I don't think anyone could have changed the game speed. Maybe it was set wrong from the start. Would be a shame to see if that was actually the case. User now making one of his last pushes though, because he doesn't have much of a bank. His Broodlords are in the air, and there's not a lot of Vikings on the field to deal with the Broodlords, so they're actually doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's a grand total of 2 Vikings. They are slowly working their way through the Broodlords, though 3 are still remaining. They're working quite nicely. Some good fungal growth going on for massive fungal growth there, just on the ramp. That's allowing the Ultras to really make up the distance and do a lot of damage there. But as we can see, the Orbital Command at the center is getting taken down. Uzer, he does not want to go out here, and Shuttle's supply has absolutely plummeted.
Shuttle's in some trouble right now. He needs to snipe a lot of these Ultras to make up for some of the lost supply. In the meantime, there is a drop in the main base that has been able to kill off the Hive, might be able to run down into the natural and do some more damage. The Infestors and the Queens are a little bit naked right now. Do they have any supporting units that are about to come? No, they don't. The Ultras and the Zerglings are retreating. Oh, Shuttle, you could kill off so many valuable units here, and he is going to go ahead and do that. gonna try to equalize the supply counts a little bit more by taking out a few of the queens, but there comes the reinforcements out of User. He's gonna be surrounding a big portion of this Terran army and force it back.
At the same time, there is a drop going on at the natural base of User. He does have a couple of Ultralisks on their way back, trying to deal with that, but unfortunately one of them bugging out a bit there, not even attacking the drop. That means the two Marauders will be able to take it out and can start working away at the Rotoron. Luckily, that's not being used too much by User at the moment. Meanwhile, pushing in towards the natural base, we've got User running forward with some more of those Ultralisks, but not many units remaining out on the field for either player. Their army supplies at 55 to 78 in Shuttle's favor. The Marauders doing a nice job of clearing out the remaining Ultralisks, and of course User, he is getting really quite starved, but Shuttle as well, down to only 28 workers, and his third base is nearly mined out. His natural and main are pretty much empty, and without that center fourth, which is only just re-landing now, his economy was really stunted rather.
Everything is so much faster now. I think the game speed is now back to what it's supposed to be. Man, I don't know what happened, but the game speed definitely changed again. It is now at the speed that it's supposed to be, I feel, as User is pushing in there, trying to deal with the last remaining Marines and Marauders of Shuttle. The supplies are very, very close to each other. A lot of the supply of Shuttle, though, is taken by the medevacs, and they don't really shoot that well.
Yeah, they don't shoot that well. Now, of course, these units are coming in. The Ultras trying to get a nice little surround. There's a decent number of Ultralisks here. Only 4 Marauders are down on the field. There are 2 tanks there somewhere. So those tanks hopefully will be able to supply some nice fire. Meanwhile, the SCVs at the 4th base taking considerable amounts of damage. Shuttle, he's down to just 20 workers to 60 of User. Even with mules, that's pretty low, but the mules are getting called down at this 4th base. It is absolutely essential.
It is. Everything matters right now. Every single worker, every single command center, every mule that gets dropped is valuable right now. And for User, every drone that he has is important. Every Widow Mine hit that goes off is going to be killing something or damaging something that he will not be getting back. There's one Widow Mine that's ready to fire that could take out one of these very precious infestors. That would be... Well, it takes out 2 Encirclings instead.
And 2 Zerglings, probably not the best thing that they could be getting off, but these mules... Look at the income right now for Shuttle. He's mining just under 1,700 minerals a minute. That's the sort of income he needs to bring this game into the closing stages. User, on the other hand, he's down to, well, not that much income. His bank, very low. There's a lot of gas banked up for Shuttle, but it's the minerals that he really needs, which is why it's so important. The bottom right base has now been secured, though, by the Zerg player. That is allowing him to really bring back up his income. But can he hold on long enough? Because Shuttle, he's edging forward. Those 2 tanks, really quite beneficial. But the Ultras and the fungal growths, they're hitting right on target.
Yeah, they are hitting where they are. What does User have left in terms of army? I don't feel like he has anything. He's got 3 Infestors, 2 Ultras, and 20 Lings. I don't think he has what it takes to stop this army anymore. Here comes his last attempt. He does have a fungal in store. Does he use it well? No, he doesn't use it well. The Infestors are now going to be going back. Still 1 fungal in store. Ultralisk and a few Queens remaining. But those 2 Siege Tanks that were produced in the super early game by Shuttle as defense that he just had back in his main base are proving so useful right now. They're doing so much for Shuttle, who is now up by 30 supply. I think he's finally broken the back of User.
Yeah, that center base going is a big loss, and if he can take out that base to the bottom right, that in itself could potentially end the game right there. But the engagement coming in now outside the 3rd base, this is absolutely massive. We see the Queens trying to focus down some of those medevacs, but there's so much infantry here, and User, he is not going to be able to break this. Probably not too happy if he was having some issues with the lag. There goes the GG, and Shuttle will take the series 2-0.